All right, so I'm going to try to walk you through what we would have done in class for how to score the elementary spelling inventory or primary spelling inventory. So first, I will give you a link to this folder, Literacy shared with 2023 students. And inside of here, there are several folders of materials that I think you'll find useful, like the publisher materials from your textbook, but the one we're looking at right now is the Qualitative Spelling Inventory Feature Guides. Boom, open there. Okay, let's say I did the elementary spelling inventory. I'm going to click on that and then I'm going to download it. So on my screen, that's here. Okay. And then once it's downloaded, it's only on my computer. So if I edit it, it's not going to impact anyone else. So then I can open it up from my own computer. And then I'm going to be marking it I open mine with Preview. You might use Adobe or some other tool, but hopefully you've got the option to mark up the text. So in Preview, if you click this little markup tool, it'll give you options to have text. You can put your signature. You can use just the scribble. Let's see how that works. Doot, doot. Whoa. And you can, I think you can change how thick the lines are, for example. Doot, doot. That might be actually the way to go. Let's do it with the scribble tool. Okay. So I've got my uh, feature guide out. If you have access to a printer and can just do this on pencil paper, that will be easier. I can use my text tool here. Oops, these are text boxes popping up. And I can put my student's name in. It's Jake, etc. Fill in your name and the grade and so on. Okay, so that's how you set up your page. I'd like you to try this with my sample. So you get one and download it and call it Jake, and then you'll download again or make a copy before you start editing, so that you have a blank one to work from for your own student. Okay, so away we go. Boop. Where are we? Do do do. Oh, what a journey we're going on here. Okay, here we are. So, step one, we, just like you did, we gave Jake the assessment. He wrote the words, and we wrote next to the words the conventional spelling for any that he did not spell conventionally. And then we've got our feature guide, just like this. And I've got my words and his spellings along the side to look at. And so what you're going to notice is that the feature guide shows letters in these words, but they're not always in order. And sometimes not all the letters are represented. So what we're looking at from initial consonant to final consonant to short vowels and on across is the typical sequence with which students develop the ability to hear and represent the sounds in words. So once children are able to form some letters and start trying to spell, they're likely to spell a word like bed with one letter, and that letter is likely going to be B because they're going to hear that initial B more clearly than anything else. Okay. And then, even though E is the second letter in the word, if they were going to spell the word with just two letters, most likely it would be the B and the D. They would hear that B and D, initial and final consonants, more easily. And then eventually they would come to represent a short vowel and the correct short vowel. So that's why this is in the order it's in. So when the student spells the word correctly, it's pretty straightforward. So I just check off right there. So you can do that on your PDF or your paper as well. So check off B because he did represent the B in bed. That's what we mean when we check. Those are features. We also checked the final consonant because he represented the final consonant D. And he spelled the word correctly, B-E-D. He's got all the letters there. So we check them off. Okay, so as we go forward, you're going to notice a couple things. One is that, for example, here, the initial consonant isn't represented, right? And that's because the SH is a digraph. Shh. It's two letters, two grapheme, or a grapheme, two letters that represent one sound. Shh. And that's more advanced than just representing a single consonant sound. So that's why we have the sequence we have here. When you move across, you've got your feature points. And really, we're just counting our checks here. Here, bed has three features, B, D, and E, and we're giving 3 points because we got them all. Ship, three features, even though it's four letters. So Jake got all three. The word spelled correctly is 1 point. And it is possible for a student to get all the feature points and not spell the word correctly. Let's say he wrote BDE. He's got all the letters, check, 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 but he doesn't have them in the correct order. So that would be 3 feature points and 0 for words spelled correctly. So these are all the words he spelled correctly down to drive. And then we get to bright. So bright, let's look. He spelled it BRITE. So we've got the BR, right? That's a blend. It's two phonemes, but it's one feature, one orthographic pattern. BR. So we would check that. Has he represented the sound of I? He has, but he hasn't done it conventionally. So we don't check off the IGH. So he would get a check for the BR and no check for the IGH. The reason that we don't have a T here is because we've had enough chances to practice that we sort of have a sense of whether the student is hearing and representing final consonants. So sure, yes, he does represent the final consonant there, but the way the assessment is designed, just to simplify it, we don't worry about that on this ninth row. Okay, so here I've marked it as incorrect and I put in I-E to represent how he spelled that sound. That'll be a good qualitative piece of information for me later. He's gotten 1 feature point because he got the BR, and the T isn't relevant here because it's not listed. And then here we're going to give a point for whether he spelled a word correctly. So for that one, he would end up with no point. Okay, for shopping, he spelled SHOPING. So here he's represented the short vowel. We would check that. He's represented the digraph, sh, check that. He's represented the sound of ping, but he did not double the consonant, and that's partly what's being assessed here. So, let's see if I have it on the next one. He's gotten 2 feature points here. He didn't earn the feature point for this inflected ending with the double consonant ing. And he would get no point here for getting the word correct because he didn't. So as you keep going, you'll see that, let's see, I'm going to pan up a little bit. So spoil, he's spelled SPOYLE. And the features that are assessed here are the SP blend and then the OI digraph, OI. He's represented a digraph. That's an asset. That's good. But he hasn't done it conventionally. He hasn't learned a rule about, or a pattern about when OI and when OY show up. And then again, the L isn't here because we've sort of gotten past that level of focusing on that final consonant. So he did not get the word correct point for spoil, but he did get the point for sp. For serving, he got it correct. So he gets the and ving. The s isn't in there because we're sort of past that level. So we're just checking the ER, which is the R influenced vowel, and then the inflected ending of ving. So the feature points here, there were 2 available and he got both, and 1 point for spelling the word correctly. We go to chewed, ch digraph is represented correctly. Oo is represented in a sensible and very smart way, but it's not conventional, so he doesn't get the point. and the ed ending is present, that inflected ending. So again, 2 feature points, but no point for word correct. Carries, he's spelled Caryes, really sensible sound spelling. He has the AR, which is that R influence vowel. And then he doesn't have the IES inflected ending, and he doesn't have that consonant doubling as at the syllable juncture that they're looking for there. So here he's just gotten 1 feature point and no word correct point. For shower, marched, he put a T in there. So here we actually give him the CH. That's it. He does have it in there. Um, yeah, you could make an argument not to score that correctly because he's really representing the digraph as a trigraph, but let's go with it. CH, he's got the letters. AR, he's got the R influenced vowel and the inflected ending. So he's got 3 feature points, but because he added that T in there, he does not get a point for the word correct. Shower, it looks like he added an S on the end. So he's got all the feature points and no word correct point. Bottle, we don't assess the short vowel because we're past that. We don't assess that initial consonant, but he's got the TT for the doubled consonant, but he doesn't have the correct representation of the LE syllable, that L. So 1 feature point, no word correct point. Favor, 1 feature point for the V, but an incorrect spelling for the OR, unaccented final syllable. Favor. Ripen. I was reading his as rippin. So ripen. Here, the assessment is whether he knew not to double that consonant here. So it's an open initial syllable. We'll learn what that means in a week or so. And then here's that unaccented final syllable. So he didn't get any points for ripen. Seller, he spelled SELAR. So all he's getting there is the feature point for AR. Pleasure, he's got an SCH in the middle there and an ER for the end. But he does have the please on the front. So he gets that feature, and that's a base or root. So we're getting into morphemes, into meaning chunks. But he hasn't yet learned that URE. And let's see, fortunate, he's got those sounds. CH for T is really smart there because we actually pronounce it like ch, fortunate. But for score, he doesn't get the fortune because he's not, seeing that meaning unit and spelling it correctly. He gets the OR and the ATE for 2. And then for the remaining ones, confident, civilized, and opposition, he made errors that didn't include these features, so he didn't get any points for those. So that's the main bit. Then to score going down, I just add up my checks here. You may not have scores for all of it if you didn't give the entire assessment, and that's okay. But of the ones you gave, as we go across, and I apologize for the yelling boys downstairs. This is just my life. They're happy. Anyway, so as you go across, we're looking for the first place where he misses 2 or more. So if we look at initial and final consonants, he's solid, right? If we look at short vowels, solid. Initial digraphs, solid. Blends, nailing it. He's missed 1 on the common long vowels, and I might teach this pattern, the IGH. And here, I'm going to pause. Okay, so as we go across, we see this column here is where Jake has first missed 2. So that's the diphthongs like oi and ew, and the R influenced vowels, not owls. So I noticed that largely he's doing well with the R influence. So I'm really going to think about those diphthongs. So here is kind of my starting point for really digging into word study. And if I pan up, that tells me that he's in the late within word pattern phase. Um, and so I can compare that as I go forward. Let's see. I can add up his scores. To me, the most valuable thing, honestly, is the qualitative here, where I look at what his assets are, what he does know, right? Which I just went over. And then what we call this, he's using but confusing. He's not leaving the diphthong out. He knows the diphthong is a thing, but he hasn't quite pinned down which one to use, right? Over here, your feature points add up to 43 and your word spelled correctly add up to 9. And so that's another way of kind of thinking about it. And so the power score, so you can put those scores up at the top, the 9 words correctly, 43 out of 62 feature points, 52 out of 87 total there. And that could be useful if you want to just have a quick track across the year, and, just to compare easily. But again, looking qualitatively at the stage is going to be your best way of thinking about it. Um, the total complete words spelled correctly is your power score. So he's got 9 here. And this is a real shorthand, but in case you're interested. So elementary spelling inventory here, as we go across 9, again, that brings us to late within word pattern. Sometimes the power score and what you see here won't quite line up, but this is enough to give you the basic idea of where you want to start. If you're just starting to teach the patterns, or sorry, the routines for how you want to do your word study or to study these sorts of orthographic features, you might start with something that the student is doing well already, like common long vowels or even the blends, so they can learn the routine, and then they'll know the routine when we get into the thing they really need to learn, which here is the diphthongs. Okay, I hope that's helpful. So for you, you're going to take your turn in a moment. If you don't have your own student spellings, I'd like you to practice with this list that I'll share with you. Um, let's make that a little smaller. And the other piece is going to be about writing the paragraph. So I think I'm going to make that a separate video. Okay. Hope this is helpful. It's so much more fun to do this face to face, but I think my voice will probably run out before too long. So